Hey there, Jason.
Hey, buddy.
Whew. Another week's passed. It's time to get on the plane.
I love getting on our plane, mainly because we own it.
Yeah. You know what? When you own something, you love something.
And there's one thing that I can think of that really complements a situation that you love.
Beer.
A frosty cold beer.
Craftbeerclub.com. That's our sponsor, folks. We're sitting here right now. We busted open I got a bottle of Milltown Wheat from Bent River Brewing Company. And you're drinking what is that?
I just downed a Pilot Mountain. It's a pale ale, and that's from Foothills Brewing.
Ironic.
Delicious.
You're a pilot.
And it is a pilot beer.
And you've never hit a mountain, ever.
That is what's ironic about it.
No, but craftbeerclub.com, every month you're going to get 12 beers.
Yeah.
4 different kinds of beers and 3 of each from different breweries. They're going to, in the box, they're going to put a flyer, little pamphlet from each of the breweries describing the beers and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Yep.
There's also on the backs of each one of them has like the recipe, like how craft beer people think that you need to what you would eat with it.
Oh, all the pairings?
But they have a recipe.
They have a recipe?
Yeah, they have like a recipe.
So you cook this food and then drink our beer with that food?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I've actually never seen that before. That's
and
awesome.
some trivia. But if you use the promo code FCF Network, you'll get $10 off.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, of a 3-month subscription.
And that's it, huh?
Nope.
What?
Nope.
What?
Free shipping. How much do you think 12 bottles of beer cost to ship?
Well, I know that when you subscribe to this, you get a connoisseur magazine.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to say that I'm a little bit of a bottle cap connoisseur myself. So I know when I go pick a 6, and it's just 6, those 6 are heavy.
Yeah.
So if you're getting twice that, if you're getting 12, it's going to be real heavy.
It's free.
What?
I'm just ruin it for you. Spoiler alert, it's
Good
free.
Lord.
Free shipping, $10 off of your first your 3-month subscription. And you get 3 free gifts as well.
That's incredible.
So, and we get a little kickback from it. So get yourself some great craft beer from all over the country.
And support the network, right?
Exactly. It's easy peasy, right?
It lemon squeezy. Fakakta Comedy Funhouse Network. Yes. Welcome to all of my friends to Couch Pilots, the show that dares to fly into the unknown territory of awful television pilots of the past. My name is Jason, but my nickname is the Black Badminton. And across from me is my shuttlecock in crime. It's Captain Philip Ressisher.
Hello.
I love you.
Jason. Hey, buddy.
Fantastic. I love that.
Man.
I love the way you are.
I love the way you love me.
I love the way you move. Don't.
Do you want me to dance for you?
I love the way you
move. Man. Party time. Excellent.
Yeah.
100th episode behind us.
Oh, my goodness. What a party that was.
We're now in syndication. Mm-hmm. Now is where the big bucks start coming.
Now I just go out to the mailbox and I wait for the mailman every day to hand me my sweet residuals.
Exactly. Then we have CouchCon. Whew.
In the rear view, but not forgotten.
No, and you know what? We're going to make announcements here pretty soon about CouchCon 2018 because we didn't give people enough time. A lot of people didn't get enough time to plan and everything. They have to save up and everything. But and our ticket sales was like 2 weeks. Where we had
I don't even think it was that. Yeah. Small window.
Yeah, exactly. We're in the month of November. We're in November 6th now. It's fall. The leaves have fallen. There's a chill in the air.
Cool days, crisp nights.
Nice. And you know what? That's the best time to fly.
Oh yeah.
Because the window doesn't fog up. Because you know what I mean.
That's the number one. People always think
humidity.
People think you get
silent humidity.
Sky madness. You get silent humidity. You get Queensryche, right? You get all these things, but the number one problem that we have is humidity, is fogged windows. Mm-hmm. So that's why this season is the best to fly.
Exactly, and I'm super excited to take another flight. God, I look in our rearview mirror and I see 100 episodes.
Yeah,
And this is also the last episode of season 10. Next week, it's season 11.
On to 11.
Merry Christmas.
Right, 11 minutes in heaven, right?
Oh, well, if you had 11 minutes in heaven, what would you do?
It would. I think when you look at the 7 sins, mine is gluttony. So I'd probably surround myself with like Mexican food and scotcheroos and just 11 minutes gorge myself. I would try. I would try to gorge myself to death. And what about you?
Well, there's 2 things in heaven I would do.
Okay.
I'd spend 5 minutes talking to my grandma Betty, seeing how things are going.
Yeah.
The other 6 minutes, I would have sex with Tammy Warrenke, who is dead, that I used to date.
Is that right?
Yeah. I would have sex with her again in heaven.
So just because that she is dead and in heaven.
Right. I mean, why not? If you're up there, you might as well have a good time.
So I feel like I should change my answer now.
I would think that heaven's sex would be heavenly, right?
I want to change my answer to having the full 11 minutes to having sex with Tammy Warrenke.
Warrenke.
That's what I said. Warrenke?
Yeah.
This is a lady that she have one arm?
She had 2 arms, but she could only fully use one.
And then she died in a boat accident?
She had a boat accident where she had brain damage, but she died
of a broken heart.
No, well, yeah. She died in her sleep. She had seizures, and so she had a rough go of that.
Related to the accident?
Yeah.
Oh,
years later.
Wow.
7 surgeries, I think. But she was a sweetheart. She was a beautiful girl. Great body.
Do you think in heaven, like, everything works?
Oh, yeah. No, I think once you get up there, everything's back to where
all
it's
of your
supposed
ailments are gone.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And let me ask you this, too. So your grandma, you all right?
Yeah.
No offense to you, but her days are numbered, right?
Oh, sure.
So she's an old lady. Now she dies. Say she dies tomorrow. Does she look like she looks now in heaven, or does she look like her best self at the time of her life?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think you look like whatever you die at. Like,
okay.
If I died right now, I would look like this.
I was I was going to ask too. Is like, do you look at yourself and see the best version of yourself, or do the other people that you see in heaven see you as they remember you, and not necessarily how you look? You know what I mean? It's all perception.
That's interesting. We're so close to heaven when we're in the sky. You would think that we'd have some more knowledge on that, but I don't know. I don't know how that would be.
The higher you get in the air, you really
closer
feel
we are to heaven. For me, I would hope that when I go to heaven, people would see me as they would want to, as my best self.
Now, when you get to heaven, or if?
Because I would have all my teeth.
Okay, yeah.
If in heaven, this tooth,
right,
it'll be back there.
It's there. Mm-hmm. But you're a lock for heaven. You're in.
I would think so. I think I think I did more right than wrong.
Okay.
And really, to be honest with you, with all the people in the world, and all the people doing bad things in the world, my scorecard's got to be like legit, right? I mean, it's got to be. I mean,
but is that how we're measured? Are we measured on like?
There's a scorecard.
But are we measured on everyone's actions, or just like is there a benchmark that we have to reach? That's not necessarily the 50% mark.
Well, I think that you have your scorecard.
Yeah.
For however it's scored up there,
like mini golf.
And yeah, exactly. And then they take your scorecard and they look at the overall scorecard of humanity,
right?
And then they say, okay, well, he's obviously doing better scoring wise. Mm-hmm. He got a lot more hole in ones.
Nice.
Maybe a couple birdies.
I know. When you say that, I know what you mean. Yeah. Wink.
Wink.
Yeah, hole in one.
Why do you say wink?
Because because the listeners can't see me wink, so I say wink.
You wink because you know golf, or because
it's a hole in one is a metaphor
for sex. Wink, wink, wink.
Thank you. Are you getting a call? Your phone is always going off. Why are you so popular?
I'm on the chains, dude.
You're on the chains?
No, I'm not off. I'm on the chains.
I don't know what that means.
Neither do I.
I tell you, we said CouchCon was a big success. We had so many people respond. We talked about a lot last week. I don't know if there's anything we need to cover this week.
No, I think we're good on that.
Just look into the future, right?
Yeah. Just get ready for CouchCon 2018.
Yeah. And
mark
your calendars.
I think we did it at Folsom We did it at Folsom, California this year. Next year, I'm thinking on the Eastern Seaboard.
Okay.
Possibly, because there's a lot of people that couldn't afford to go all the way to the West.
I love to go all the way.
How many times have you gone all the way?
Once.
How was it?
Not great.
Really?
Yeah.
Your fault?
Yeah, it was all on me.
Underperformed, huh?
I guess.
there's, we take these flights, and people think, they download it on their phone,
right,
and they listen to it, and that's all they have to do is just listen to it, right?
Yeah, that's all they have to do.
But there's people that do even more than that.
They take an extra step, right?
Tons of extra steps.
They reach out.
And it's fan feedback.
Oh, my goodness. That's my favorite part of the show.
And I want to tell you right now that... Oh, jeez. Dustin, don't send me text messages like that. We could go on for hours, but let's go back. Okay.
Yeah, let's look at some of this fan feedback. And while you're pulling it up, I will mention that for the uninitiated, the show's Couch Pilots. We take a flight every week. The people who listen to us often are known as frequent flyers. And when you listen to the show... when you interact with the show by commenting or sharing, when you download, when you even physically tell someone else, you are garnering frequent flyer points. And these points can be traded in for a seat on the plane. You take a flight with us.
Surprise prize.
Signed aviator glasses.
Used underwear.
Soon to be koozies with great catchphrases.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And then...
signed 8x10.
Yeah, all these great things you can get. But how do we keep track of it, right? Well, how do we know how many points? Because we have so many listeners. So many points are being thrown around, willy and also nilly. How do we keep track of them?
2 pachinko machines.
Working in
running
tandem.
9-stop.
Yeah.
In tandem. The first fan feedback we have, it kind of piggybacks off of an old one. And remember Dustin had put that sexual chocolate gif on there from Coming to America.
Okay.
Then Lori Garcia... had put the royal penis is clean. By the way, listening to the show, you had me at Big Papa.
Oh yeah, that's what I think your nickname was on that show. And go ahead.
She loves it when you call me Big Papa.
But yeah, I think that is from the movie. The royal penis is clean. There was the show that we watched was broadcast on television, so it was it was a very PG version. But the movie, there was some dirty stuff, including servants cleaning penises.
Sure. Thomas Kingston, who is our man of mystery.
He's a frequent contributor at this
But we
point.
don't know where he's from. We don't know where he's been.
Mm-hmm. And we don't know where he's going.
No. But he commented on this as well. He said, man, it's been a steady stream of stinkers. When's our diamond in the rough? ?
Oh, boy, I think that was answered last week.
Yep, exactly. So I put season 10 episode 9, which was our 100th one. Mm-hmm. And he put Couch Pilots, but that's the future. I can't wait that long for a good pilot. I said we got a couple decent ones coming up. He says, I put my faith in your capable gloved hands onto the adventure. A little known fact, we don't wear gloves when we fly. We fly bareback.
People often say, get some gloves on. You're going to want to protect your hands. You don't know whose hands were on.
Protect your hands before you wreck your hands.
That's right. I can't tell you how many times I've heard that, especially from you. But then you're a hypocrite because you go right around and say, I don't wear these gloves.
Yeah. Well, when I'm flying, because you get you do everything and you get it up. You get it up, Jason.
I do, and you do everything in the middle,
and you bring it back down. So when I'm doing everything in the middle, I want to feel the throttle.
That's how it feels best, right?
Yeah.
If you put a protective layer over your hands,
thank you.
You can't feel all the textures and the nuances. It feels great when you really have your hand around that that stick.
Exactly. Hey, face. Oh.
I was going to say that flyer's wheel.
Oh, there you go. Facebook reminded me and Lori Garcia of our 1-year anniversary that was on October 9th. Hey, sorry it's a month late, but...
Anniversary of what?
Just being Facebook friends.
Oh, I thought something else more sinister was happening.
Man, you know how it goes.
I know how you do, homie.
How 1 year, how you guys doing stuff?
Congratulations. So that's a paper anniversary, right? So you owe her a card.
Right, I do owe her a card. I need your new address. This is from Twitter, from Travis. Travis Heimel? Not Hyman. That would be ridiculous.
That's a ridiculous name.
Travis Heimel, the comic book guy.
Big shout out.
Right. He put this was for Wolf's Head, The Legend of Robin Hood. He put great episode, captains, #quarter pounder dick.
Yeah, that was at the top of the show. I gave you a nickname. You're like, my cock weighs exactly 1/4 of 1 pound. And that's a lot for a penis, as far as I'm concerned.
So I tweeted him back. I said, thanks, Travis. Thanks for listening and glad you enjoyed. #1,000 frequent flyer points.
You're always very good about that, letting people know that they've got
Sure, I don't want them to just guess, like, oh, did I get 5 or did I get 100?
Because they know they're getting something. But a lot of times people at home can't wait for their statement to come in the mail, so they have their own tally.
Right, because we do send paper statements every month to everyone of how many your balance, how many you plus, how many you used that month, whatever.
Yep. All your debits and credits. And I tell you what, it's far and away our biggest expense here. People would say it's probably the airplane, the fuel. No, it's sending out all those individual statements for frequent flyer points.
Exactly. And we fly over your house and drop them down.
Mm-hmm.
This is from, again, Wolf's Head, The Legend of Robin Hood, from Grim Noir.
No, I remember that name. He's been around.
So, you might say Molly's biggest problem with the pilot was that the costumes did a puts on sunglasses half-ass job.
Half?
Yeah. I like it.
Because, she said it looked like Baywatch or something?
Yeah.
Which I didn't necessarily get that. But
She doesn't get out much. And I put nice, ha ha ha, 1,000 frequent flyer points to you, my friend.
Pretty good word work there.
And he then posted #finally caught up on the podcast.
Oh, cool.
He was a little bit behind. So glad you're caught up. We've given you some shouts out. Shouts out.
Shout outs.
Shouts. Let them all out. These are the things you can do without, so come on. Is that one of those guys dead?
No, Tears for Fears, both alive.
Okay. Oh, yeah, because they were on Comedy Bang Bang a couple years ago. Remember that?
Yeah. I mean, you can die within a couple of years, but they're both still alive.
This is from Twitter. What I think, WATITHINK. And she retweeted our link to the YouTube page and liked our tweet, and so we put thanks for the retweet.
Yeah,
and she didn't respond.
That's fine.
But
retweets are great. We love that kind of stuff. That gives us a little bit of extra exposure. It's very helpful.
Yeah, this one has a picture.
I don't know who that is.
Is that the Wiener or no?
Oh, Anthony. No, it's it's a political guy. It's
Anyway. Well,
Ted Cruz.
Okay, here we go. Oh, yeah. This is from the Wolf's Head episode. This is Lori Garcia. Oh, my God, this episode. Fucking amazing. By the way, those weren't spelling errors. I was writing in Latin backwards, attempting to summon Lemmy and Bowie, but I could only summon Corey Haim. And she put, fine. And then she posted the picture of, what's that guy's name?
Ted Cruz.
Oh, finally caught up to the part where you're confessing your love for me. Hit me up on Facebook, dude. Which
who's talking to me?
I think she was talking to you.
Why?
Because you said you loved her. I said I wanted to fuck her.
I can't take that away from you.
Right. You will never take that away from me. And you know what? The funny thing is, I should have went your approach. It would have worked a lot better for me.
And what's my approach?
You said you loved her.
Yeah, it is working out for me. I've fallen deeper and deeper into love with her every single day. She's trying to contact Bowie and Lemmy. I mean, this is fantastic.
Right.
What girl's trying to do that? I love you, Lori.
And also based off that one, Tyler Abercrombie and Fitch put awesome episode, guys. Great to hear Miles. Made me miss the kitchen walkthroughs of the old days.
God damn. Don't you feel like he was in the studio with us?
Yeah.
Just like in the corner watching the whole time?
I was about to hit the floor laughing when she got to the also down line when it clicked with her.
Yeah, this line from his song.
Right. Yeah. And I said, it was a pleasant surprise when she came down into the cockpit. Glad you dug it, bro. Then I have some screenshots from my conversation with Verizon. We'll skip those.
Did you have it out with Verizon?
Well, no, I did. I used the chat app where you could chat with them.
Yeah.
And they gave me prices of what it would cost, and so I wanted to screenshot them so I can go into the store and say, "This is what the guy said."
Okay. Because I know you've had it out with cell phone providers in the past.
I've almost gotten arrested. Season 10, episode 7. Where's Rodney?
Yeah.
Dee Dee, our good friend Dee Dee from Australia.
Yeah.
Do I sense a low ranking coming up? Maybe the Fable Lewis? And I said, you'll have to tune in to see. It was not a Lewis. Lewis was the one that the one that she had. It was a 0.
Right.
She named it Lewis.
Yep. That's that character that is the Gilbert Godfrey character or the old man character. I can't remember. It was one of those from Wings.
It was right. And then Lori Garcia put, get no respect up in this bitch. And Dee Dee said, it could be called, where's Rodney's sense of humor?
Oh, nice.
Hey-o.
Slam dunk.
And then I just screenshotted a picture that I sent to you of DSJ in his military outfit.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was in the military.
That's a whole other thing.
His ears are so small.
Yeah, honestly, that gives him an advantage, believe it or not.
Yeah.
So.
And so we got some more, but we'll save those for next week.
Yeah. Okay.
Tons of fan feedback. And you know what? There's nothing better than getting a bunch of fan feedback.
It really does make us feel good. Everyone who participated in fan feedback this week, they got some frequent flyer
Sanford and
points.
Son is not a good show. I'm just saying it right now. Sanford and Son is not a good show.
I was just going to ask you, too, so that's perfect that you brought it up. What made you think of that?
Oh, just Dustin was texting about how he loved the show and he loves black people.
Yeah?
Ladies and gentlemen, the captains have turned on the fasten seatbelt sign.
Craftbeerclub.com.
What's not to love about black people? I love black people.
No, I love black people. I just don't. Sanford and Son, to me, I never thought it was funny.
You know, it's hard for someone like me to concentrate in a show like that because there's just crap everywhere.
Yeah.
They're
You have OCD.
They're hoarders, and I'm just like, why don't you pick up your goddamn house, Sanford, and also his son?
Right. What was his son doing all day long? Just picking his afro
Oh.
out? He was so tall. His son was so tall.
Handsome man. Handsome man. Originally designed as a reason for two friends to get together under the guise of watching failed television pilots, it has since become about breaching the 100th episode and entering into syndication. Money, couch pilots.
Money in the bank, bitches.
Hoo-yah! Hoo-yah! Give me that money!
More money, more money, more money.
Yeah, I love In Living Color. Cult of Personality.
Wasn't that J-Lo an original dancer from?
She was a fly girl, baby. That's where her ass was like in full effect.
God. You know what? I don't think that she's attractive, but if you turn her around and don't show me her face,
What? You don't think her face is attractive?
I don't think she's attractive.
I'm not like, taking care of business by thinking about her, but I think she's a good-looking woman. She's like 45 or even north of that, and she's still good-looking.
Speaking of 45 and
All right.
girls, at this point in your life, this show is built in the back of his back, perps, which we have not done in a couple episodes. What's the oldest age you would do right now sexually with a girl? How old does she have to be?
How old? She has to be at least 18.
No, what's the oldest she would have to be?
That is, I don't know. There's a lady that I know, and I won't go into too much detail, but she's not. I've never gone out with her or anything,
Sure.
but she's like 53, 55, and she's a good-looking woman. And
53. That's what I'm wanting right now.
okay, is a married man? You're saying?
I'm menage a trois.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
No,
But I'm watching a lot of porn right now. 48 to 53 years old.
Really?
Yeah, attractive ones, not just.
Because you go in porn phases.
Oh yes.
I know you do a very good and honestly a little bit disturbing Asian porn soundtracks. There it is. Yeah, the sound effects are horrifying. But then there was ghetto porn at one point.
There was some ghetto porn for a while.
And I know you joked about, but maybe there's some truth in granny porn.
No, I think 53 is.
Okay.
It's pretty much the limit. I wouldn't go
Okay.
any further than that.
But now you are saying I'm into mature ladies. Mature.
Yeah, right now, that's what I'm watching. Mature ladies.
I'm glad there's still a market for it because, in Hollywood, it's the same thing, right?
Hollywood.
You breach 30, 32, and you're no longer marketable. People don't want you in their pictures anymore. The very few women get those roles, like your Meryl Streeps of the world. But there's still a place in pornography, thankfully, for women who are mature.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm glad that's your current go-to. Especially, I mean, not a knock against your wife because she's beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
But she's in her early 40s.
Yeah.
And she's beautiful, and she would be considered a mature woman.
Sure.
So I think that's almost kind of sexy and romantic of you.
Yeah,
Be
I
like,
think-
I'm into what my woman currently is.
As I grow as a man,
Right.
as I grow in this world,
Yeah.
different things attract me.
There you go.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you have the full pornography spectrum under your belt,
Oh,
and I applaud you for your diversity, sir.
There's so much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
What, is it the person who says thank you or the person that says welcome is supposed to do that?
Well,
Because I found the last few episodes we've been doing it at the same time.
Well, I mean, that noise that people hear is us being polite to each other, and we bow to each other, and we hit our head.
Hit our head.
So it doesn't matter. Whoever's being respectful to each other,
right.
That's what it is. So it doesn't matter.
Sounds
Whoever
good.
bows. Sounds good. Today we discussed the pilot episode of 17th Precinct from the year of our Lord 2000 plus 11.
2011, not that far away.
Great year, though.
That was a pretty good year. Pretty good year.
This is a year where I said, you know what? I'm in my 20s.
Nice.
And then I put it to rest. I'm in my 30s now. I'm a 30-year-old.
That's your birthday was just a few days ago.
Right. And now I'm old, man.
What are you now? 32?
Yeah, right. Asshole.
37.
36.
36. Do you feel any different?
I feel like a year has passed since my previous birthday.
How about a year and a week?
Yeah.
Yeah. Happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. And so that if
Thanks
I was
for not hanging out with me on your birthday.
Hey.
Sorry.
You know what I did on my birthday?
You went to a dance. A Roman dance.
Yeah, I went to a Roman dance.
Roman Polanski dance.
Yeah, that's all right. Everyone's passing out Quaaludes. So if I was 30, that means you're 36.
Oh, yeah.
6 squared, right?
Right. Let's see. 36. Let me bring it back. I had just started dating
Angie Vecco.
No, I think
okay.
I just started dating Molly, I think.
Nice.
So that was before dating Molly, though. I was banging chicks left and right after my divorce.
That's the go-to, though, right? That's what you do.
Yeah, I think so. Whenever your heart's broken, the first thing you should do is fuck whatever you see.
Right.
I think that's if my son comes up to me, it's the first time he's heartbroken. He says, "Dad, I'm heartbroken. This girl broke my heart." I'm going to say, you know what? Go out and fuck the first thing you see.
That's great dad advice.
With a condom on.
With a glove on?
Yeah,
with a pilot glove?
With a pilot glove.
No glove, no love, as they said in the 90s.
Thank
right?
you.
No, you're welcome. So 2000 plus 11. I think it's a great year. You think it's probably pretty good. You're winding down some lust and getting into love. I think that's a nice transition to make. Even though it was 6-7 years ago, we got to put our minds back in that time.
Right. We have to go back there. We cannot judge this pilot based off of today.
People will say, you know what? Who cares? Just a couple years ago. But guess what? In 2011, there's no such thing as Donald Trump. He didn't exist back then.
Thank you.
Right? Oh, you're welcome. There was no fidget spinners. That didn't exist back then. No one ever heard of that.
There was no a Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, that wasn't a thing. People were like, you mean Nintendo Wii? And I said, no, I mean a Nintendo Switch. He's like, that doesn't exist. It's 2011, dum-dum.
Flying cars.
Yeah. Didn't happen back then. Happens now. Not back then.
Right.
So even though it was just a few years, things have changed drastically, so we have to put our minds back in 2011, and we do so by talking about popular events from that year so we can properly judge this pilot. It's only fair.
It's the only way to do it.
January 15th, Wikipedia, the free internet encyclopedia, turns 10 years old.
Does anybody use Wikipedia anymore?
I do.
Do you really? Mm-hmm. For this show or just in general?
Both. I use it for the show and just for things I want to look up.
Can somebody, a listener out there, make us a Wikipedia page for Couch Pilots?
I have personally...
Because you can't make your own.
Okay.
I've tried to do that in the past with IBWIP. You can't make your own. So if a listener would go ahead and make a Wikipedia page for us, that'd be cool.
Freaking fire points in it for that's for sure.
I'd give them 7 million.
That's
a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
That's more than the song though that Tyler did. You think that would garner more points than a song?
Oh yeah, it's a lot more time.
Oh boy. Okay. All right.
He just came up with that off the top of his dome.
Yeah. That was nothing.
No, I'm not saying it was nothing. I'm just saying he came up. As he was strumming, he came with it.
Did he really? I thought he wrote that out. Okay.
Oh, he doesn't have to write it out. He's a goddamn.
He's a
magician.
I learned so much from you. February 15th,
How not to be.
U.S. President Barack Hussein Obamacare awards writer and activist Maya Angelou the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Now, Maya Angelou was the chief on Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego. Is that correct?
I have no idea.
You remember that show on PBS?
Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? Wasn't she the poetic black lady with the thing on her head?
Yeah. Barack Obama didn't give her the award for being the chief on Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego. He gave it to her work as a poet.
Did she know it?
She knew it. What is going on over there?
You can just slide it out of the bottom.
You're having hell with
You see that? Look at it. It's like a rag.
Yeah, I know.
You just pull it out of the bottom.
Looks more like Iran to me.
Heyo.
Some Blake Clayton work there. April 27th. You know what?
I'm not funny. I understand.
I don't feel ashamed when I pull off a cheesy joke. You pull off cheesy jokes, and it is funny.
But that's
you feel ashamed. You shouldn't feel ashamed. They're funny.
But they're not artistic.
Fuck artistic.
If I said a lot of my cheesy jokes in front of Paul F. Tompkins, he would look at me and go,
Is that how you judge your comedic demeanor? By your favorite? Okay,
I'll never. If you could have dinner with 3 comedians of your choice, who would they be?
Dead or alive?
Yes, dead or alive.
Oh boy, 3 comedians. That's a good question. I mean, you obviously have an answer, right?
Well, I've been thinking about it.
Go ahead and hit me while I'm thinking.
Paul F. Tompkins.
Okay.
Definitely. I think Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
It's kind of a weird one, but I think, and I would say, a third one.
Yeah. Sure.
Harris Whittles.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a jump.
What
Okay.
do you mean it's a jump?
Well, I mean, you got these icons, and then a guy.
I don't think he's a guy. I think everybody has their own. Like, there's different way. Like with those 3 people, there's completely different kinds of comedy.
I totally agree. Okay. Norm Macdonald.
Nice. I like it.
David Letterman.
Okay.
He was a stand-up comedian.
Yeah. I wasn't throwing shade at you. You were like very defensive. You're like,
I've never.
He was a comedian. I was like,
well, no, I know you don't care for him, so I was ready for backlash.
I didn't say I didn't care for him.
I thought you didn't like him.
I don't think he's that funny.
Okay. I don't know who the other one would be. I want to say Jerry Seinfeld, but I don't think so.
No, you don't want to waste your pick on Jerry Seinfeld.
I don't know who the third one is.
Go deep cut. Deep cut?
Hedberg.
Okay, I like it.
Okay. April 27th, again, U.S. President Barack Hussein Obamacare, coerced by incessant false birther accusations, publicly releases a copy of his birth certificate.
That was so stupid.
That's awful.
Wasn't that Donald Trump started that?
He kind of headed that shit up.
Yeah, fuck that stupid shit.
You know, as much as we say that, though, like, Donald Trump, I think, is a genius. I really do. Like, either he is a genius or he's surrounding himself with these people.
Or Vladimir Putin is.
Yeah. Or, I mean, yeah, so, I mean, either someone playing his strings or he's, like, hiring these intelligent people. Because I think when it comes to, like, cause I think if you look at the past with Donald Trump, he's largely considered Democratic. But then, you know, he obviously won the Republican candidacy for the president and became presidency. So I think this is kind of some, like, groundwork that he was laying.
Yeah.
That's smart, though, right?
Oh, sure.
Like, because you always come around and say, oh, it's time for a presidential election. So next time you got all these Democrats you've never heard of, right?
Right.
There'll be like one that you've heard of, maybe, and then like a sea of people that you've never heard of. But Donald Trump, you knew his name 30 years ago. And now he's laying this groundwork by calling out Barack Obama, which is stupid. The whole birther thing is
Right.
stupid. But he laid that groundwork, right?
Sure. He planted a seed.
That's great. That's a great way to say it.
He planted a seed.
Yeah. It's a great way to say it.
He planted a seed.
May 2nd, Barack Hussein Obama, or Osama bin Laden, rather.
Woo. That's woo.
The suspected mastermind behind the September 11th attacks and the FBI's most wanted man is killed by U.S. Special Forces in Abbottabad, Pakistan.
We never did see the body.
And that's exactly what I was going to say. How do we know he's dead?
We don't.
I think he might be. I think he bought the house that was the exterior shot of the Golden Girls. Is probably living there with a gay manservant
Named Coco. Mm-hmm. Again, they said that something about they didn't take photos because of his religious beliefs or whatever, or something like to do with that, and they gave him a burial at sea. No.
They said they gave him a burial at sea because they didn't want to put him in a place that people could come and memorialize.
No.
So he's alive.
No, show us some fucking pictures.
Do you think he's with Tupac somewhere?
Yeah, definitely. We'll see a hologram of him really soon.
Would you pay money to go to a concert that was a hologram?
No.
Of Obama or Osama? No. Whoops. Oh boy. Why did we choose to watch the 17th Precinct?
3 simple criteria, buddy.
We didn't have these last episode.
No, we didn't. I had to get back in the groove because Blake got his groove back. My mom had a friend in Chicago. Her name was Stella Kalazowski.
Yeah, and did you give her a groove back?
No, she already had her groove.
Never lost it, huh?
Never. Stella never lost her groove. One, it had to be a one and done. It never went to series. Okay? Are you with me?
Makes sense to me.
All right. Two, we had to find it on the internet. It makes me... Why did you take a lime and cut it just in half? It's freaking me out. You should just have a lime wedge in that drink.
Like I want to choke on it, or just like some other OCD?
I just feel like you're wasting a lime. Unless you're going to make another drink, you're wasting lime.
Well, I squeezed everything I could out of that.
That's a lot of lime. You're very limey.
This is... Now, I'm not happy with that one.
It was more about the reaction.
This is it's a vodka. It's club soda. And there's like no flavor in there.
Sure.
So the lime is the only thing I have.
Okay.
So I really double down on
High five it.
Thank you.
And the third thing is had to be free. We can't pay for this. Our sponsorship, unless you order from Amazon or you get craftbeerclub.com, we're not making any money.
All my money is going to limes right now, right?
Obviously, because if you use a whole lime for one drink,
It's like 33 cents. That's not a bad deal. Or if you go to Aldi's, you get a whole bag of limes for like a nickel. Some people say, great, you bantered. It was fantastic. I love it. I'm jacking off to the sound of your voice. It's fantastic. You told me what the show is about, your specific show, Couch Pilots.
tweet us if you were jacking off during or playing with yourself during this. What would the hashtag be?
Hashtag so golden. You golden girl?
you golden girl.
What was the hashtag on the last show?
You so golden? Or something like that? Golden shower?
You be Basically, what I'm trying to get at is where can you watch this pile of pilot for yourself? You can do so by subscribing to our show. It's called Couch Pilots, and you can subscribe to it in Apple Podcasts. That's what I do. Or your favorite podcast app of choice, and then simply click on one of our classically blue links in our show notes, or go to YouTube.
And you know what to do, Tube.
Flight attendants, prepare for takeoff, please.
This is my favorite. I can feel the engines, the power of this plane vibrating underneath me. Because I know that we have no business in the sky. We have no business being in there.
No, we failed both our tests.
Well, I mean, us personally. I'm just saying people in general.
Oh, okay.
We're defying gravity. We're taking physics and bending it to our will.
Sure.
You know? And we're in the sky because of this powerful engine. I don't know. It's just, I love the nerdy stuff about Air Force One.
We should have an episode just talking about the nerdy stuff about it.
Yeah, I think that's great. Maybe another Patreon episode. Summary of the pilot. This modern world story where magic supplanted science consists of two non-intersecting stories. The death of a city executive at the hands of a wrongful convict, and the introduction of terrorists who are devoted to the destruction of magic.
No, that's a horrible summary.
Lately it's been like, that's a 7, which is the best score you can get,
Yeah, no.
or that's a 1. Why?
This is a 2.
What's wrong with this? I think it's a great summary.
Do you really?
I don't care.
No, there's no terrorists. Okay?
There's
no terrorists.
Okay.
And they only say the word magic one time in this. If this was a good summary, they would say magic 37 times.
Okay, I'll grant you that.
It was horrible. This summary is horrible.
Okay. Well, maybe this.
I don't like it.
You're welcome, Tyler. Maybe this will make you feel a little better. It's a little segment affectionately known as Interesting Facts.
Whew. All right. Now, last week, we probably threw everybody off because you said Interesting Facts is open, all rules thrown to the wayside.
Yeah.
Guys, we got to get back into the sync of things.
Yep.
Interesting Facts. It's the name of a segment. Mm-hmm. Do not, under any circumstances, say whether you think these facts are interesting or not. It's not for you to judge. They are what they are. Don't spread your propaganda to all your friends.
Everyone comes here with a blank slate. They say, "What do you have for me?" And we serve it up to them hot and ready, just like a Little Caesar's pizza, right? Mm-hmm. And say, here it is. This is what we have." And then you take it in. Don't you want to experience that clean, white as the driven snow? You know,
pure as the driven snow.
Thank you. You don't want other people to say, "Oh, your pizza sucks," or "Why don't you get pepperoni?" No, we're delivering this to you fresh, clean, unsullied, and you should be able to receive it and then feel however you want about it, but just don't tell other people and ruin their experience.
Right. Do you remember when Little Caesars Pizza, when you ordered a pizza, there was always 2 pizzas? No. It came in a cardboard with paper over it, and it was 2 pizzas. It was always 2 pizzas.
It was like a big rectangle?
No. It was a rectangle cardboard, but there was 2 pizzas. There was one here, and then the paper over it.
No, I don't remember that.
It was always 2 pizzas. You always got 2 pizzas.
I remember the Bigfoot was like a big square. No. I don't remember. I'm sorry.
Well then, fuck me, right?
Wait.
It happened.
I believe it happened. I just don't recall it. When are we going to get koozies that say "fuck me"? Right? Huh?
I'll write it down.
Talking about catchphrases here. Christ. Okay, so yeah, while you're
me
and the koozie,
right? Do you want me to put a question mark on it?
It's up to you.
Because if you don't put a question mark, it sounds really weird. Fuck me, right?
It could be ... It could be question mark.
Fuck me bad. I don't care.
It could be all caps.
Here we go.
It could be wingdings. So here are the interesting facts. This pilot, unaired.
Of course.
A
horse.
Shot in Vancouver, modeled on San Francisco.
That's
fact.
That's fact. That's what it is.
Eric Stoltz was originally offered the role of Liam, but turned it down to focus more on his directing career.
Okay.
You know Eric Stoltz, right? You remember you got Sam Elliott and you've got Cher in The Mask?
Yeah. The
Eric Stoltz was the kid.
Okay. All right. I'm with you now.
And oddly enough, little tangent sidetrack, Eric Stoltz was originally Marty McFly in Back to the Future.
Really?
They shot a ton of the movie with him.
And then they dropped it.
They said it's not working. But there's
because his face was all messed up?
Yeah, because this is what happened. They said they just got done shooting The Mask, right? And it took him 17 hours to get that makeup on. And once he had it done, he's like, I'm not taking this off. Do you know how long it took to get on? And so they shot the majority of Back to the Future with the mask makeup on. And they said at one point they said it is not working.
I can see why.
This is not working.
I can see why. Cannot look at you right now.
Created by Ronald D. Moore and produced by Sony Pictures Television.
I know that. That is a fact because if you watch this, it reminds you often.
Very often. Moore's development, and that is Ronald D. Moore, his development of 17th Precinct was part of a 2-year deal with Sony Pictures Television to create and executive produce series projects for broadcast and cable through his production company, Tall Ship Prods.
Okay.
So this guy's saying, hey, I got this thing. I got great ideas. And then Sony says, go for it.
Yeah, and Sony says, we'll give you a contract to do more than one thing.
Yeah.
They're not just saying, hey, do this. We're giving you a binder.
We trust you implicitly. Here's a deal of array of
Why won't
projects.
somebody do that for us?
That's
why won't Earwolf call us or the Nerdist?
Because we talk about dirty stuff.
Okay.
When Moore pitched the show to NBC Universal in September 2010, it carried with it an approximate $2 million price tag for the pilot and penalties.
Penalties from what?
I was hoping you wouldn't question that because I don't know.
Music, maybe? Like music from the show or...
Maybe all the licensing involved. I honestly don't know what that means.
Okay.
I should have probably just deleted that word and not said it. In January 2011, holy crap, NBC ordered a pilot for the series from Moore and Sony. On May 12th, 2011, NBC announced that they passed on the 17th Precinct for their fall 2011 season of shows. NBC instead ordered a full season of another program featuring a supernatural angle on the traditional police procedural genre, Universal Television's Grimm.
Never watched it.
Were we think I said Once Upon a Time?
No.
Okay.
I just knew it was coming up.
Yeah, well, good.
Once Upon a Time used to be good in the beginning.
I never saw it.
Eli has a poster in his room.
Half the time, about 6 months ago, every time I came to your house, they're in there watching it.
Yeah, it was cool for a while, and then they got to the point where they're like, okay, now what do we
stories,
do? Right.
What do we do? Yeah. The unnamed pilot episode of 17th Precinct was leaked online at Vimeo in the last days of December 2011. And I think as we've discovered before, when you leak something, it's never by accident.
Right.
These people, they want to get it out there.
You spent the money on it. You might as well put it out somehow.
There are sometimes these weird little campaigns like to save shows that people will be like, hey, this character on this show loves peanuts. Let me send 10,000 pounds of peanuts to the NBC. So I don't know. Maybe that was their idea. Maybe they thought they could jumpstart this by leaking it online.
Here's a very real scenario. It's like that. Bajillion-dollar properties.
Right.
It was
formerly on CISO, yeah.
Okay. They did 3 seasons on CISO. CISO went bankrupt,
Right.
belly up. They have a 4th season. And they've tried to get they've tried to push like on Twitter and stuff to like get fans of the show to like bug like.
Yeah. It's actually kind of getting sad.
Right. Because they have a 4th season that's already done.
It's in the can, baby.
It's in the can and ready to go.
It's like I listened to Who Charted podcast.
Ooh, charted.
And they talk about it on there, and they're like...
But it's because it's the only thing she has to talk about. Kramer can talk about things for days and days because he has all kinds of stuff going on. That's all she has. That and her documentary is all she has going on.
Yeah, that documentary is like 5 years in the making now, isn't it?
There was a Kickstarter. I'd be pissed.
Yeah, anyway, we'll get past it. And with that information, interesting facts over.
Whew, thank you, sir.
And thank you, Uppercut Podcast.
Greetings, humans. We are interrupting your scheduled program to let you know of our plans for domination. Uppercut hasn't infiltrated your audio canals in the Fakakta Comedy Network to penetrate your minds with lewd humor.
Any attempts to stop our transmission of subpar video game news will result in immediate listening device failure, resulting in injury or possibly death from laughter or boredom. Join us at Hyper Uppercut.
Hyper Uppercut. Okay, I'm not a gamer. I'm not into video games. I don't give a fuck about video games, all right? These guys, even though they're talking about something I don't care about, the banter is great. And then they put out 2 episodes a week, right? Where they have the second episode is like...
The list one?
The list one, and I love that one. It's a great idea. They're very good at keeping up on it and everything. But again, if you're into gaming, that's the bulk of it, right?
Yeah.
But it's a great show. Great audio quality. Everything's cool. And I love the list shows. A lot of fun. I listen to it myself. And I will say that a lot of times when I go to bed, I have a little speaker, and I'll play a podcast or something, and I'll set it for 15 minutes. It'll go off. I would hate to hear that promo while I'm going to sleep. Oh, yeah.
That is the most terrifying promo I have ever heard in my life. It would scare the shit out of me if I was in some sort of half sleep phase, right?
Definitely.
But
that's the whole
podcast.
point of a promo is just make it stick with you.
And that's exactly what it would do. So
Thank
check
you.
out, you're welcome. Check out Hyper Uppercut twice a week right here on the FCF Network. A great addition to the show and the network.
They're local, right?
Yeah, they're out of Pekin, I believe.
Well, why don't they cash in some freaking flyer points?
We tried to hook up with them recently at a bottle share. It did not work out, but we will. Our paths will cross with them. And it'll be fantastic. I look forward to it. But not before we break down the pilot of 17th Precinct.
Oh, boy.
What if science had never been invented? What if we relied on magic?
Guys.
And that is my problem from the beginning with this show, is that you're right. Science is not a thing that was invented. It's like saying, hey, I just, no one had ever been over Colorado way. I invented the Rocky Mountains. No, it's a thing that existed.
Yeah.
Okay? Science is a name that you put on factual studies of nature, biology,
I love biology, but not as much as you see.
Shows built in the back of
That
his
was,
songs.
you know what? I saw that in the theater, and we knew that
I saw it thrice.
it was worth it.
I've never seen a movie 3 times in the theater. I saw Napoleon Dynamite 3 times in the theater.
It's a great movie. Molly still hasn't watched it. I have it.
Well, shame on her.
I have it on DVD.
Can you deduct some frequent flyer points from her?
Minus 1 million.
Oh, shit.
That's what I call punishment because she likes it. Anyway, okay, so basically, let me break down what's going to happen here, okay? You're in a situation, it looks a lot like San Francisco because there's a Golden Gate, but it's all tore up.
It's not tore up, really. I think it's just floating. That's the thing. They're saying, we didn't use... This pilot is so frustrating. Everything looks the same. there are cars, but you're not driving them. Everything is run by magic, but it looks the same. If the world was created by magic, wouldn't everything look dramatically different?
Yeah.
Well, how do you get your clothes? Are they not tailored by some machine?
I would have noticed it was a Golden Gate Bridge if it was magic, right?
Yeah, and that's what it was. It was the Golden Gate Bridge, but they're in a city called Excelsior, I believe. And the bridge has no there's no pillars to the bridge. It is just floating there, and I assume it's there because of magic.
Oh, Jesus Christ, folks! By the time we get done with this, you're gonna be so tired of the fucking word magic.
There's a lot of information here. The intro is a montage of the cops using magic, basically.
Yeah.
You're in like I said, you're in the city of Excelsior. At night, there's a man walking through an alley. He's walking very briskly. A dog barks, and then there's silence.
Yeah, all of a sudden you see the dog barking, but you can't hear anything.
And I don't know. Later, you kind of understand why this happens, but at the moment, you feel like, oh, they're just making kind of interesting choices.
I just thought something was wrong with the audio.
Which is not a far cry. And then that same man who's walking briskly is promptly stabbed to death.
Oh, yeah, he died. He gone.
Yeah. EXPD is called to the scene.
Thank you. I put EXPD on there. That was my next thing. Two detectives come all of a sudden to the crime scene. One has a British accent, and one's looks like Fabio with short hair. I
feel like people, like a couple people in the show, have accents that are questionable.
Yeah, they don't fit.
They're walking towards the crime scene, and this is something I picked out right away. It's like, what are your plans for the equinox?
Yeah,
and I feel like it's saying, like, what are your plans for New Year's Eve? But the equinox, while not a big deal here, it is something that kind of talks about the season. I think the equinox is, I can't remember what time of year. I think they were in the fall because they're breathing and you can see their breath. So the fall equinox, and this was a time for like maybe witches and magic would have something to do with the equinox.
Right, like
so
fucking a goat. I mean, stabbing. I mean, sorry, stabbing a goat.
No, you're right the first time.
So they come onto this crime scene with this guy's laying down, and they begin to break down this murder step by step using magic, and they somehow make the blood of this whole murder come up in the air, and they trace it back to where blood first started, and then they can figure out how the murder happened.
It doesn't I understand what they're trying to do, but it doesn't always make sense.
No.
They're detectives on the crime scene of this murder trying to understand what happened, but instead of the normal CIS shit that they would use, they're using different forms of magic. Instead of doing a chalk outline of the guy, they're drawing chalk symbols on the ground to I want to say I can't think of the word.
Summon?
Yeah, that's a great word there. That's right. They're trying to summon things by using herbs and chemicals and potions, but they bring the blood up in the air, and they almost kind of reverse.
They rewind it. Yeah. And also, if I'm
there's a necromancer they call to the scene as well, and she's doing potions. She's kind of a shaman.
Yeah, she's lighting candles,
and she talks to the dead guy.
Yeah,
right?
and she's like, who killed you? Oh, if it was that fucking easy, right? Who killed you? I can't talk about it. And the guy that died ends up being Donald
Pinchant.
Pinchant, is that what it is? Pinchant, and he's a prophet, because in this time, in this day and age, they have prophets.
Yeah, people who are soothsayers,
forecast the future.
Yeah,
right. And I call her the witch lady. She starts doing some magic, and she summons the guy.
I think they call her a necromancer, is what it is.
Necrophiliac.
And that's
and also you can during the investigation to take pictures. They don't have cameras, so what they do is they point at whatever they want a picture of. They pinch their fingers together, and then they point to the paper, and all of a sudden there's a picture.
Yeah, there's
ridiculous.
There's a lot of examples of that going forward for sure. They're saying, Donald was a prophet, but he couldn't predict his own death. And then while he's dead, and he's talking to the necromancer, says, I'm not going to tell you who killed me. The murder was done in vengeance.
Yeah, in vengeance.
Yeah, so it pans over the bay, and that's where I said, that's where you first see the Golden Gate Bridge floating there. And I said, this feels a lot like San Francisco. And even an interesting fact said it was modeled after San Francisco, shot in Vancouver.
Right.
But
because it's cheaper to film in Canada.
Absolutely.
And then we meet the chief, which is Chief Wilder.
I didn't get his name, but yeah,
it's Chief Wilder. Don't question me.
I wouldn't.
He's a black chief. Not that it matters. And he comes on the scene, and then he starts hearing things like, "An old foe has returned."
Yeah.
I'm like, how often does the police chief come to a crime scene? How often does that happen?
I don't know. Maybe they said that this guy was a big time prophet, so maybe because of his status he went there. I honestly don't know, but I wouldn't think very often.
So he's on his way to the courtroom. Now, that's what it was. The next shot was him in the police station. He's on his way to the courtroom. Okay, so there's this court trial going on from this gangster or some kind of guy, and his punishment ends up being a dislocated right arm for a year.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. And all of a sudden, the judge touches this ball on her desk, and all of a sudden, and she's like, "Are you ready?" And he's like, "Yeah." And like, you just see his like shoulder dislocate.
Yeah, rips it out of a socket. It's gotta be like that for a year.
The judge puts a spell on him.
And the prosecutor there was Rizzo from Greece. Stockard Channing is her name.
Yeah.
And
Stockard Channing?
Stockard Channing.
Okay.
And honestly, she still looks pretty good. There's some shots of her body where it's like, she looks pretty good still.
Yeah. I'll give it to you.
Dude, I'm into it. I don't care. I think at this point,
Is she 53?
She might be older than that. Because when did Grease come out? 77?
Sure.
And then she was probably 20 there, right?
Yeah.
And so she's probably like knocking on 60's door. Hey.
That's a little too much for me. So the chief talks to her and basically wants her to come back and help out on these cases.
And he's talking to her about what he's hearing in his head. Obviously, these two have some sort of history together where he can confide in her some of these things.
Do you think they dated?
I wouldn't put it past the I think the captain's smooth criminal, man.
Right now you hear white noise right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We turn the heat on in the plane for the first time.
It's going to smell like burnt dust.
Could be.
He talks her into helping him, and then he makes her pay for lunch when he leaves.
Right. And
pretty baller move.
Then the next scene goes to the police precinct, which has a fire tornado in the middle of it.
Oh, I missed that.
Oh, it was this big, huge cyclone of fire, like in the precinct. A lot of things are weird on this. Then we meet Liam Butterfield, who is a Hispanic detective.
And Rizzo is talking.
Yeah,
to him.
like how we were talking about Rizzo.
And then she's like saying, she's talking about how he used to be a lady or something, right?
Yeah, it was really weird. I didn't really understand. I knew they didn't like each other, but I couldn't figure out.
Nice.
Couldn't figure out why.
Sorry. They're having some turmoil. It seems
they have a history.
Yeah, but like I think she's talking to him like he used to be a lady, and she keeps commenting like, "Hey, you look really good. Like you look younger or something."
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of weird comments to her. As I'm sure if this show had survived, you'd come to understand what this is all about. But I have no idea what they're talking about. Did you get that too? Like she was talking about him being a lady.
Well, I didn't get the lady part. I knew they just didn't like each other. So she's like, "Okay, I'm here." He's like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna take you to your partner." And they go into a shooting range. You figure you're going to see some guns, some semi-automatics, some blah, 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 blah.
Blake, that's science. Guns are science, Blake. You're not going to see that.
What are we going to see?
You're going to see round medallions shooting energy beams.
Fucking ridiculous.
And he says, this is, I think her name was Meyer Barkley, but I'm just going to call her Rizzo. He says, here's your new partner. It's James Hartley. And he's a
James Tavers.
Oh, James Tavers, and he's a baby.
Yeah, he was a rookie.
He's a young kid.
And she's like, wait. Nobody told me I was going to have a rookie. And like when the guy calls for him, he turns around and almost shoots him with this medallion thing.
Yep. And it's like not only is it a rookie, but here's your first assignment. And so they get into a car and they're driving around, and she starts like talking about.
They're not driving. The car is driving itself.
And this is one of my many problems with the show. Is like, okay, it looks like a car, like you or I would drive, but there's no steering wheel. They're just sitting in there and it moves. I guess by magic. But why would it have to look like a car? Why would they just sit like on a disc or in some sort of...
Why don't they just go into a teleportation thing?
Right, yeah, or like some sort of just like a booth at a restaurant and just float somewhere. Why is it a car on wheels? Why are there roads?
Right.
What does a road have to do with it? Why would you have a road if you have magic? You know what I mean? Like this shit doesn't make sense to me.
Their case is there's an apartment building that seems to have a curse or a hex, and all the windows keep going up and down, up and down, up and down, and everything in the... And this, all the weird stuff that's been happening so far, I was still into. I was like, okay, yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stay with you, bro. You know? fist pump.
I hear it.
I'm gonna stay with you, bro. And then I see the shot. Like this shot is the two of them standing outside the apartment. You can't see the apartment. You just hear the noises.
Yeah.
And then it slowly turns around, and it's just windows up. Every window in the apartment going up and down, up and down. I was like, I'm almost gone. I'm almost leaving this.
It looks like some poltergeist shit's happening.
Exactly.
There, right? So they go in there, and this is interesting to me. It's like they go in and they start asking questions of the landlord or whoever owns it, and they're talking to him as if normal detectives would ask a line of logical questioning. But theirs is all like, "Have you had any bad luck or misfortune lately?" It's all like magic related.
Sure.
They're being very serious about it. It's a very earnest and serious attempt at making a show like this, but it's hard. It's silliness. It's hard to grasp what they're doing.
And she starts looking at these plants, but there's just a whole bunch of plants on the wall.
Not only there, everywhere.
Everywhere.
Plants and the medicinal value of foliage plays a big part in this show.
Has something to do with energy.
Yeah.
And that's where I went, okay, this is completely stupid. Let's just finish this out.
Like, there's energy here. These bugs are feasting on the energy. You have plenty of energy, but there must be a totem or something that is taking in the energy and redirecting it, and that's why you have all this weird stuff. So you need to find all the tenants, tell them to shut down the magic, everything magic related, and we will come in and we'll try to find this totem.
All the tenants in your apartment building have to turn off their stuff with magic. That has to do with magic. This is from refrigerators, air conditioners, toasters. That's the kind of things people use to run magic. Yeah,
anything that you and I would have, which again, why would there be a refrigerator? Why would a refrigerator look like a refrigerator in a world with no science? You know what I mean? Wouldn't it be something, why wouldn't it be like a floating ball that kept everything cold? You're welcome. So you go back to the murder case where the guy was stabbed, and the detective is talking to the widow of the victim, and she's saying he made predictions concerning the equinox, and he was shaken by what he saw. Right. So here we're building a story of what happened to him, and we go backwards. We keep feeding backwards. Who do we talk to next?
Just like CSI or
it's exactly
or
like that.
Law and Order, anything like that. She says something about that he had an argument with Mayor Ben Cole.
The deputy mayor, yes.
Deputy mayor.
Yep.
And so that's basically ends up being the first suspect.
He says prophecies have political ramifications.
Sure.
So they go talk to the deputy mayor, and Ben Cole he's kind of put off by their line of questioning, and up front he kind of lied about where he was. He comes clean pretty quick.
Yeah, but he's like, I was hanging out with some friends.
I got drunk. They put me in a cab. And it turns out he's like, well, we'll go talk to these people. Give me their names. He's like, all right, listen, I wasn't doing that. I'm having an affair. I have a wife and kids.
There's always a mistress.
Yeah, always.
This mistress is bad fucking news, folks.
For sure. And you don't know that until the end. But the detectives then show up at the mistress's place, and she gives him the exact same story, like almost verbatim that he does. So they're kind of like, something's a little suspicious.
Right, yeah.
He either called ahead of time or used some sort of magic telepathy to let her know this is exactly what I said, and she's just regurgitating the same shit.
And he looks over, the British one looks over, he's like, oh, what's that medicine you got over there? And she's like, oh, I take that because of my arthritis or something. Mm-hmm. He's like, well, that high dosage, this also can be used as a spell to hide bruising. And he stands in front of this good-looking blonde chick.
Yeah.
And he, passes his arm across her face.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, once he passes it by, she got a big old fucking black eye.
And it turns out, she says that the deputy mayor had whipped her ass the night before.
Yeah, her name is Samantha.
Okay.
It's not Samantha Fox.
Bummer.
Do you remember that song? Touch me now. I want to feel your body. Okay.
So she says he's going to be here later. He left a jacket here. So they go check out his jacket, and they find, I don't know what it is, if it's a piece of paper or a stone, but apparently it's supposed to be his prediction in some sort of cryptic language.
Right, a prophet.
Yeah. So it's the one in question concerning the equinox. They go back to Rizzo, and they head back into the poltergeist house, and they're looking for that totem. They said all this energy in this house is being sucked in by a totem and redirected to the rest of the place, and that's why the whole place is going nuts, going bananas. So they find a little black stone, and I don't know what this stone is. Some shiny piece of coal or whatever it is. It doesn't make a lot of sense. This show is marred by inconsistencies and inexplainable tactics. I don't know. But the rookie kind of starts to freak out after he sees this stone. He senses something. He runs upstairs, and then they're in this apartment building, and then he like brandishes his weapon. He gets it out. He's like, I'm going to go into this apartment. Something weird is happening there. So they bust through the door. The landlord's with them, and he lets them in. They bust in, and there's a dead lady on the ground. And they said, now here's the next scene. You find this necromancer who was first in the alley with the dead prophet, and she's a pretty good looking lady, if I do say so myself. The necromancer, it's the one from the beginning, and they're at the apartment in the murder scene, and then the new victim, the Chinese lady who's a professor, she says this is a professor, and she had a lot of protective talismans or something, and she was in some sort of trouble. But
was she Asian?
She was an Asian lady.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And the deputy mayor is then being questioned about the item found in the jacket. They say, hey, man, you were over at this lady's house. You have this thing. What's going on? And they have him like in the police station talking to him. And he's like, you know what? I had the original prophecy, but I destroyed it.
It had bad news.
Yeah.
Bad news that could affect the whole city, the whole countries.
This is what he's talking about when he said these predictions have ramifications politically. And he says, it would upset the city. This prediction says an old foe has returned to destroy our way of life and bring darkness. And it's kind of the same message that the chief is hearing in his head, right?
Fear, death, and darkness.
Isn't this the same message that the chief is hearing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So something is happening. There's something on the horizon. And then they're back in like the precinct or something, and they're using like a beam of fog.
This drives me crazy. Yes. It's a beam of fog that they put their hand like in the middle of, if they're trying to think of like, oh, I wish I had documentation from this county on this, this case, and they put their hand in it.
It's their computer, basically, right? Yeah. It's kind of like their computer.
Yeah, it's like a computer, but a magic computer because there's no science, and they just like they'll have blank pieces of white paper, and they'll just put it in between this stream.
Yeah,
it's fucking stuff.
Earlier in the show too, that I think the chief like put like a bunch of papers in it, and it became the day's newspaper.
Right.
So I don't know. And this is the point in the show too where I noticed they're in the precinct and there's a bunch of plants inside. There's just foliage and plant life everywhere.
Mm-hmm. And it comes into play here in a little bit too, which really drove me like to where I almost threw my pen at the TV.
They're talking to a guy in a lab coat and
token black guy is lab coat.
Yeah,
right?
It's like why. If there's no science, why is there a guy in a lab coat? Shouldn't there be a dude in like a wizard hat?
Because there's no science. So why is he in a lab coat?
I don't know, man. He presents him with some glossy photos and explains it to the detective. It looks like just a bunch of shit, and he's like I don't fucking know. At the station, they're brainstorming. They said they need a motive. Why did this murder take place?
Right, and they all of a sudden start thinking that the kid, Samantha's kid, Leo, is the killer.
As they said. They said the stab wounds came from a low position like a kid. And they said, well, maybe a kid was used as like a puppet. Maybe someone like, like possessed the boy and used him as a killer.
Like right now, in my life, in your life, I'm using you as a puppet.
Yes.
And I'm living vicariously through you. And so I'm making you do things. You're doing them, and I'm watching them.
You're going to be very disappointed.
Hey, you know what? High five a couple of those. I'm an asshole.
They say, here's a town, Menasio. If something happened there, we got to find a judge. They might know some stuff. So, right? I'm losing it at this point in the show.
Yeah, it's slipping away. And yeah, so supposedly Leo and Samantha had lived in Messino, California, maybe?
Probably, yeah.
It does stink, doesn't it?
That with the heater on? Yeah, it's all right.
DSJ should have blew those lines out first. Anyway, I digress. So supposedly Leo and Samantha had lived in this town. They skipped town.
This is the mother and daughter, and it's the
having the affair with the mother, the mayor, the mother. So they end up finding some documents by putting a blank piece of paper in a stream of light and fog, right? And they come to find out that
sounds like a Game of Thrones book.
Right.
A beam of light and fog.
And so they go, okay, so they used to live in Messino. There was this judge we're going to go see this judge because she has information, because not all the information from this case is on this piece of paper.
Yeah, they like deleted it after.
It's pointless to talk about.
They go to, it's Judge Ball. It's a woman. They go to her residence, and the 3 guys get there. It's like the chief and like his 2 detectives.
The 2 original detectives.
And they get there, and they're walking in, and all of a sudden you can't hear the guy. And there's some sort of sound mask around the house. It's like a force field within a given area that makes everything silent inside.
And that's what was used in the murder of the first.
That's right. You thought I thought it was some sort of artistic situation that the director was using. Not at all. It was a form of magic. And
I hate the word magic. By the time we get into it, that's all right. They say, okay, guys, we're not going to be able to hear anything. We're going to go and get into this house, and why not just go to the front door? Well, because they don't think the judge is home or something. The Fabio with the haircut guy, he goes to the front door. So the British guy is climbing climbing up the side of the building, and this guy goes, and he takes like
a clove or something, right?
And he shoves it into the lock, which unlocks the door. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Fucking ridiculous.
Okay, riddle me this. Why do you have a keyhole? Right?
You shouldn't have to because you got magic.
Well, are you going to put a key in there?
Isn't
every mechanism inside that lock
science?
Fuck you.
High five that shit.
Fuck you, 17th Precinct.
Thank you.
Anyway, the woman from before, the
Samantha?
mistress, yes, she's she tries to like stab the captain or the chief with a knife.
Yeah, well, like throws it at him like Matrix style.
With magic.
But he can't hear him though. He can't hear her.
Everything is silent. She happens to see him since everything is silent there, and he moves just in time. And then, like a chase ensues. He goes after her, and he shoots out the window. Which I honestly like this scene.
Yeah, this scene is cool because it was really cool how he shoots out the window. Then all of a sudden, the judge is in her car reading the paper because it's driving itself. She shows up. Everything is silent. You can't hear anything.
When he's like chasing her, I like how everything was silent, and it was very stylistic. And I thought it was very cool. It's a very cool scene.
And so the judge comes home, and she's like going through, and all of a sudden the little kid, Leo, which was Samantha's son, jumps out of nowhere and tries to fucking stab her.
Yep.
Like fucking The Shining shit, man. Like he fucking weird-looking dude. Weird-looking kid tries to stab her. And so then the chief is still following Samantha. Best part of this show, almost worth watching all this bullshit, is her falling off the staircase.
Yeah.
It was pretty badass. So Samantha falls, 2 stories, I guess, off the staircase onto a glass table, of course. Folks, if you're rich and you have a big winding staircase, don't put a glass table at the bottom of it. Somebody's going to fall.
Just put a trampoline down there, right?
Yeah.
And one of the detectives, he's like fiddling with some plants, and he reverses the silence spell. And once he does that, then they can kind of hear, there's a struggle downstairs with the boy and the judge. So now that they can hear things again, when their senses have been returned to them, they're able to engage properly with the situation rather than just kind of walk around the house with their thumbs in their asses. So the detective saves the day, and they find out that the boy is actually a man.
Yeah, he's a 42-year-old man. And how this comes about, okay, so the judge, I guess he got this kid, quote-unquote kid, got convicted of a rape many, many years ago.
Based on the prophecy of the man who died in the beginning.
Right.
But the prophecy was wrong, it turned out.
Right. But she had sentenced him to relive the rape in the
woman's point of view,
12 times a day for life.
Yeah.
There's no prison. They don't put you in prison.
That seems like a cruel and unusual punishment to
me. Major cruel.
If you knew, like obviously they don't have science, so proving things is kind of bullshit in this universe. But
so Bill Nye is not in this universe.
Bill Nye would have nothing to do with this. But I mean, something like that, you just kill the person, right? You don't make them suffer over and over. Right. You just say you're not going to be a burden to me or the government. We're just going to eliminate you as a human being because of the atrocities you committed.
Right. So the prophecy was wrong. So they end up finding out, this wasn't this guy. It was this other guy.
Yeah.
So the judge feels bad and tries to turn, because she put him through all this. She casts a spell on this guy to turn him into a kid so he could relive his life over.
All the time that was taken from him.
And then his sister, which was Samantha, she gets put a spell into where she goes back too, but she plays the role of the mom.
Yeah, so they're brother and sister, but actually she changes their name, gives them new identities, and says, you know what, we made a mistake. Right. Here's your life over. But what does that really do, you know?
It's weird. Let me sum this up. I got 2 more lines. Let me just sum it up. Okay. The chief goes home. He's got a hot-ass fucking white wife.
Now, is this the necromancer from the beginning?
It has to be the necromancer.
I think
That's exactly. And then they talk for a while about the Strokes. The band, The Strokes.
Yeah.
Cut to, she's undressing him, getting ready for bed. It was, she was hot.
It's erotic.
Cut to Grease Lightning Girl.
Rizzo and James are in the bar.
Yeah, and she's like, the Strokes are a bad group.
Is it the Strokes or the Starks?
It's the Starks. I'm trying to be funny.
It's working.
This is that bad. Ends up, they're both telling the same story. At the end of it,
I like this part. Because they're both telling the same story at the same time, and it's jumping back and forth, and they finish each other's sandwiches. You know what I mean? They're like they keep going back. I kind of like how they wove that.
Sure. And at the end of it, it's the bullet is something that the Strokes, the band The Strokes, they're coming to take over,
and they want to use science. They want to use something called science,
and they want to use a thing called the bullet, which there is no magic to beat.
Perhaps, yeah.
No, that's what they said.
Okay. So, yeah, they're not aware of guns. They don't have guns in that universe, so a bullet is a foreign thing. But it's something we're well aware of, right? And something else I'm well aware of is Turbulence.
Whoa. Magic.
Please remain seated as we are now crossing a zone
Sorry,
of
man.
turbulence.
I just couldn't go any further. I'm sorry.
That's fine. And this show couldn't go any further than one episode. And here's our opportunity to say what went wrong.
I got a list.
You got a list. You've been so prepared lately. Please.
Thank you. Too much magic. Like, it's overkill magic. Like they do explain the magic, but like when you can push some clovers into a lock, it's overload on the magic. There's no star power in this. Rizzo is the only person I recognized.
Not enough.
Plants. That was stupid. It was just fucking dumb. I'll let you go now.
Yeah, this didn't work for a lot of reasons. We talked briefly before the show about. I think it's a good premise for a show. Let's have everything based on magic. It's a police procedural. But it's a stupid premise. It's a good premise, but it's stupid at the same time because
that's a conundrum.
It is a bit of a oxymoron, perhaps even too.
Hey, watch what you call me, buddy. Come on, DD.
I apologize,
DD. That was funny. Come on.
I apologize. Why does everything look so similar to what we know today, but they used magic to get there? How do we arrive at such similar The premise is so bizarre that I feel like it would be such a laborious chore to create this entire world based on the history of mankind using only magic.
It would cost too much money to make everything so odd.
Yeah, I guess. So we're just supposed to be like, okay, this looks like our world, except, they use things.
But isn't a car
science?
Like an engine is science?
Totally science.
Like,
all I could think about is I was looking at some of their stylish clothing and thinking, what, didn't a machine make that somewhere?
Right.
Didn't a machine, and even if they were using magic to power the machine, what about all the intricacies and the gears? And yes, all that stuff. Someone had to create something via science. This isn't, I don't know. The premise is too hard to get around. There's something good in there. You know what? Maybe make it a comic book. Maybe it'd be better suited as a comic book or like a cartoon, or maybe it'd be better as like a graphic novel or just a book.
Or dial down the magic to where it's you ease yourself into it.
Yeah,
the magic on this podcast,
pilot. So hey,
no,
push forward.
I should punch myself.
Push forward.
The magic on this pilot is at a 10. Dial it down to a 5. I'll be able to at least stay with you.
There's too much that looks like the world we know in a world that is controlled by magic. Sure. You know what I mean?
When you can raise blood up in the air and rewind it like a video.
Yeah. I don't know. If what I would do to improve it, I would say probably tone down the magic. Maybe, I don't know. I cannot see this going anywhere, you know? If it had survived, turn into a fucking cartoon, man. This is too silly.
A superhero thing, at least, maybe. I don't know.
It's so bizarre. But thankfully, other people have some opinions on this.
Hopefully they're the same.
I think they might be.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we start our descent, please make sure your seat backs and tray tables are in their full upright position.
IMDb score. What do you think the people...
It's not a 6.5, Jason. I would normally say a 6.5. I'm saying a 3.7.
It's a 7.2.
You're fucking kidding me.
120 people.
Stupid ass people.
And that's kind of a lot. So we've had them as low as like 8 or 10 people.
Fucking Twilight-liking motherfuckers.
7.2 from 120
Ridiculous.
ratings. Critic reviews. Science fiction blog IO9 called Moore a master of world building. This is the guy who created it. A master of world building, describing Excelsior as a richly described setting. They applauded its freshness in spite of its police procedural genre, saying that it was bursting with new ideas and rejuvenated a whole new genre. So they're saying, we've seen the police procedural a million times. Here's
Law
a fresh
and Order,
take on it.
CSI.
Oh, a million. Hill Street Blues.
Loved Hill Street Blues.
Columbo.
Be careful out there.
Airlock Alpha also commented that 17th Precinct, commended 17th Precinct for incorporating a fresh take on the police procedural genre, though also felt the pilot introduced too many characters and concepts.
No, I think characters and concepts, characters were fine. Concepts in the regards to magic, too much.
TG Daily thought the concept was cool, though they felt the execution could use a little polish. They also specifically lauded Bomber, Helfer, and Callis, while not being overly impressed by the supporting cast. In the end, they would have preferred 17th Precinct over Grimm.
I never saw Grimm, so I don't know.
I saw maybe 1 or 2 episodes of Grimm, and I'm talking. I think that Grimm is a weird show.
Really?
I think it survived. I want to say 6 years.
Wow.
I bet there's 6 seasons of Grimm, and I couldn't tell you one fucking person on
Grimm
the show.
Noir?
Yeah, but Grimm is one of those ones that just kind of like kept under the radar. It kept its head down, kept pushing forward, hung out on a weird slot on Friday night or something, and just kind of stuck around for that long. But it's about fairy tales, It's about interacting with these kind of mythical creatures. But even that show seemed to have more of a foot in reality than this 17th Precinct. So I would say I disagree. Thank you, with TG Daily about his concept on the show. Anyway, those are what people have to say. Those are how people graded it. Let's see how we rate this show.
Please remain seated as we are now crossing a zone of turbulence.
Turbulence. Did I say turbulence again?
Yeah.
Hold on a second.
Please remain seated as we are now crossing a zone of turbulence.
Oh, this is messed up.
Oh, is it? I'm sorry.
That's all right. We're landing.
Okay.
That's what this is, not a turbulence. And we're landing, and this is the part of the show where we say, we've done all we can do. You know what? Someone went out there, and they had an idea, and they put it together, and they created it, and they put it out there, and it failed. That's all they could do. Giving this pilot a second life in the form of a podcast.
We're standing over the top of it with our arms or our palms of our hands crossed, and we're punching down on the sternum.
Staying alive, right?
Yeah.
That's the...
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. We're trying to save this thing.
That's all we can do.
6 years old. We're trying to save it.
There's a lot of information. There's a lot of facts, critic reviews. We broke down the pilot. There's not much else you or I can do. We aren't magic.
No.
We're
not producers.
We're not magicians. Right. We're not miracle workers. We're
not Gollum.
We're not Gollum. Absolutely, we're not Gollum. We're just a couple of jerks. And
Mr. Wizard. Do you remember Mr. Wizard?
Sure.
Did you ever watch that show?
Sure, on Nickelodeon.
God damn, it was a good show.
That's a weird thing. Like, Mr. Wizard, when I was young, was on at like 5 a.m. in the morning. Why was he on so early? Did they just say, you know what? We have to fill this time slot.
Right.
Kids don't want to fucking learn about science. They want to watch cartoon Spartacus or something. Do you remember that cartoon? That's a weird poll. You don't remember that? I'm sorry. Am I boring you? I know you have to be up early. Oh, boy. 1 to 7. There's 7 different ratings you can get. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And it's not boring either. We take those numbers and we assign them a character.
Sure.
From a television show.
Let's go through all 7.
Yeah, it's the Wings, right?
Oh,
Wings is a great show.
great show.
You and I
Check it out
both took our inspiration. That's why we're pilots. That's why we're sitting here today, because we turned on the TV on NBC and we said, "Hey, this is must-see television." Right?
Number 1 is the bottom of the barrel.
Ugh, scraping the bottom.
Roy Biggins.
Gross.
Number 2 is Faye Yetten. Right?
Yep, that's right.
It's not Faye Yetten.
It's Faye Yetten.
No, it's not.
Number 3.
It's Faye. What is it?
I'm not gonna tell you.
Faye Yetten is. I keep thinking of that.
I know you do, and
the nurse.
I love that your head goes there.
She was so fucking crazy too. Number 3 was.
You got it. It's Monk himself,
Balky Bartakamos.
Tony Shalhoub, the character of Balky Bartakamos. That's right. Number 4, right in the middle. Even Steven. His name's not Steven.
Helen Chapel.
It's Helen Chapel. That's right. God damn it.
Is it?
100 fucking episodes, man.
Isn't that right?
No. It's Faye Cochran. It's Antonio Scarpacci. It's Joe Hackett. It's Bud Bronsky. It's Helen Chapel. And it's Brian Hackett.
Helen Chapel is a 6?
You know she
Are
is.
you fucking kidding me?
Is this a surprise to you 101 episodes in? Is my face properly showing you disappointment? I talked to someone who listens to the show recently, and they said, "I love it when that guy sings."
That's all you get out of the show.
I love it when that guy sings.
The guy sings.
You're that guy.
But that's all. It's not a karaoke podcast.
Maybe it should
That
be.
person is not smart.
Maybe it should be. That person's not smart.
No. She should think that everything
Why do you
say.
think
You're witty. You're funny.
Why would you assume it's a she?
Huh?
What do you, Captain Philip Ressisher, I turn to you. How do you rate 17th Precinct?
Okay. First of all, way too much magic. Second of all, no star power. There was some decent special effects. The special effects were not too cheesy. Am I right?
No, I agree with you.
Okay. It was a great fall scene from the stairwell. I've seen a lot of bad stuff in the past year.
Yes, you
2
have.
years. Who you want? I'm giving it a 3.
3?
Yeah. Which is a Antonio Scarpacci.
It's a fake Yekitin.
I'm drunk.
That's fine. I'm wanting to do a 3. I'm stuck between a 3 and a 4.
No, don't go 4. Don't do it. There's too much magic.
Like there are literally no repercussions to my score, and you're desperately trying to change my mind.
He's shoving clovers into a lock.
It's a 3.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I want to give this show credit for trying something new. You know, I that holds a lot of weight for me in my ratings. Any pilot that is coming to the table and saying, I'm trying something new. We've seen it before with things like Heil Hitler. We've seen it with things like The Ghost Rider, Heat Vision and Jack, Action Family. These are things that you've never seen anything like this before. For whatever reason, it didn't work out. But I want to give you credit for trying something new. It did not work. I agree. They passed on it. They were right to do so.
Do you want to give it a 4? Do you want to?
No, I'm going to give it a 3.
I don't want to bully you.
I agree with you. The special effects were good.
Yeah. Because they weren't cheesy. Except for that fucking cloudy fucking beam of light.
The beam, yeah.
That was stupid.
The fog beam or whatever it is. I don't necessarily always care about star power. I think some of the greatest things you ever see, whether it's a movie or TV shows, can often star a bunch of no names. So that
like us.
Yeah. Wait till this blows up.
Do you think if we had somebody famous on this podcast that it would be a thing?
You might get a little attention early on or somewhere along the way, but that only takes you so far. You really have to have good content, which is I think where we suffer.
You think so?
No, I think this is a great podcast, but not a great pilot. So
No.
I say a 3. You also say a 3, and with that, we close the book on 17th Precinct, and we will never mention it again.
Ever.
But join us next time, won't you please, when we watch the pilot episode of B-Men. Here's a little something to wet your whistle. The B-Men are high schoolers who take up bounty hunting after relying on their wits to nab a serial killer. You can find the entire episode by subscribing to Couch Pilots and Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast app of choice, and then simply click on one of our classically blue links in our show notes. Or download the app for Daily Motion and check out all the commotion. Nice.
Woo.
Boom. Couch
High
Pilots
school
podcast.
bounty hunters,
yeah.
huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is honestly, this is one of my favorite parts of the show too, is when we record 2 in one night.
Right.
And at the second one, I announce the next one, and you don't know what it is. So I always like that.
Right.
And that is last time we recorded, it was, hey, we're going to watch the Golden Girls.
Oh, and I got a boner. I jerked off, and there was.
And you made us watch it too.
There was cum all over the windshield, but you know what? I licked it off.
Good God, man.
What? Do you want me to lie to people and say I wiped it off with a cloth?
No, you should be honest
My
about
sock?
what you do with your red hot jism.
It's not red.
It's not?
That would mean there would be blood in it.
I suppose you're right. I assume that could be a thing, right? Yeah. I assume something could go wrong down
Why do you
there.
do this to yourself? Why do you do this to yourself? Why do you do this?
I hate me.
I'm sorry.
Couchpilotspodcast.com. You know what it is? It's a website.
Yeah, it's a website you can go to. You can check out all the shows. You can search by the name, by the date, anything.
I really do like that. There's a search property.
It's great.
Yeah.
And you can go to all our social medias. You can email us from that site. There's a picture of us.
Yeah.
Right in the top.
You can copy that, and then you can save that picture as the call-in number, 910-PILOTS-1. So every time you call it, our picture pops up while you're calling us and leaving us as a voicemail.
Thank you. Follow us on Twitter, which is Couch Pilots Pod.
Yep.
And follow us on Instagram, which is Couch_Pilots_podcast.
Yep. You got it.
And I'm going to start using that more.
Okay. Good.
My goal is to do a post at least 3 times a week.
Wow, look at you making a commitment. God bless you. And God bless the call-in number. I mentioned it before. It's 910-PILOTS-1. That's 910-745-6871. I've had people come up to me and say, that's silly. That's a joke, right? You don't really have
No,
a
it's
call-in
not a joke. It's
not
a real
joke.
thing.
Call in. You've heard the calls on the show before. That's real. People take the initiative, call in, and say, you know what? I'm going to leave a fun little message. At the same time, I'm going to get me some frequent flyer points.
I have to say we've had at least 50 call-ins, right?
And it's been great. I've loved every one of them.
That's my favorite.
And beyond all of that, like that's all surface level great stuff right there. But you go one notch higher, and you got FCFnetwork.com, right?
That's the hub. That's the main hub that's the heartbeat of the network.
Everything related to Fakakta Comedy Funhouse Network, which is where we call home, is right there at FCFnetwork.com. We got a bunch of great shows. They're all fun. They're all free. There's a bunch of interesting, great stuff there.
All different kinds of stuff. No matter what you like, you'll find something.
Yeah. And if you go to that website, at the top of the page, you'll see, hey, Craft Beer Club. Click on that. Put in the promo code FCF Network, and you're going to get some savings there. You go right next to it on our homepage. Boom, Amazon. And you can click through that, and you can get some savings right through there.
Folks, it's November 6th.
Christmas
is right around the corner. You have to Christmas shop.
Mm-hmm.
Best way to do it from the seat of your couch. Get yourself some craft beer from Craft Beer Club. Sit down on your couch. Do all your Christmas shopping. Go through our Amazon link. It costs you nothing more, but we get a little kickback.
Yeah,
and
what you're doing is you're supporting a mom and pop podcast network, and like Blake said, it doesn't cost you anything extra. So all you have to do is click through it.
And this is the best time of year. You're going to make large purchases. The larger your purchase, the more we're going to get Do it.
We get just a little taste of that. And honestly, what we do here and what FCF does as a whole, it's not free.
No.
We put money into this. It's our love. It's our passion. It's our hobby. And we provide it to you for free. So if you're going to do some shopping, you may as well click on our link through Amazon. And
it doesn't
help
cost
us out
you
just
anymore.
Yeah, it's all on the level. We
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it. And you're welcome. Anything else you'd like to say today, Blake, to all of our frequent flyers out there? I know you usually have a nice little message at the bottom of the show here.
That's a lot of pressure. First of all, I apologize to everyone for drinking too much tonight. And I apologize to you, my co-host, because it makes you do more work. But anyway, no, thanks to everybody for interacting with the show and downloading the show and telling your friends. Folks, that's the only way we're going to get more downloads. It's the only way we're going to get more folks to listen to the show is if you tell someone, you post a link. We don't have a big budget for advertising, but
we blew all our money on Air Force One.
Yeah. I mean, if you have a good time and you laugh during the show, spread that word. Say, hey, I know something that's going to make you happy every Monday.
Tell people about podcasts. This is what I always say about podcasts if people are interested. I said, guess what? There's a million. Tell me something that you like. Oh, I like Pilates. Guess what? There's 50 podcasts on Pilates. Whatever you like, there's something out there for you. You like to laugh? You like a little blue humor? Why don't you check out the Couch Pilots, huh? Tell your friends. It really does help us out. We super appreciate it. Some of the people, or some of our most frequent listeners have been told by other people.
Sure.
And they interact with us. So it really does count. It matters. We appreciate it so much.
We have listeners in Wales. We have listeners in Australia.
Yeah.
Folsom, California.
Right.
We just want to grow as a family.
Absolutely, we do. And with that, this pilot may have been rough, but it's always a smooth flight here on Couch Pilots. Thank you, everyone, and we will see you next time.
Cheers, baby.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we start our descent, please make sure your seat backs and tray tables are in their full upright position.